So Jack, if you want to go ahead and talk about ISSessions CTF.
Yeah, so one of the reasons we're putting together this event is because if you haven't heard already, ISSessions CTF, it's coming up January 14th and 15th. We're hosting it in Toronto. Um, the challenges will also be available online, as well as some other content. Registration is open at ctfissessions.ca. I also post that link in chat. So you can get started signing yourself up, joining teams, finding teams. It's truly a can't miss event. In terms of CTFs, they're just a great way to get involved, right? When you're looking for co ops, when you're looking for jobs, one of the key things to have is ways that you've gotten involved. Stuff like this, stuff like CTFs. It's just a great way to develop your skills. It's a great way to network with potential employees. We'll be having sponsors going to the event. They'll be running workshops. They'll be talking to competitors. Uh, the InfoSec group, it's a really tight knit one. So events like these are just a great way to meet people. Um, right. So registration's open. That's for the online part of the event. In-person tickets, they will be available tomorrow for Sheridan students. Anybody outside of Sheridan, those tickets, they'll be available December 5th. Tickets are 100% free. So I highly encourage you guys to come out in person if you can make it, because it's a great way to connect with sponsors directly. If anybody has any questions about uh, the CTF, you can hit me up. You can hit our CTF coordinator, Sean Espin, or Christian, former Fleming student, current Sheridan student. He's our vice president. We'll all be more than happy to answer any questions. And please, please, please come out and participate. So just like a bit about Pico Night, yeah, we'll be going through different categories of challenges, give you a give you a sense of the different categories out there that you might encounter in our CTF as well as other CTFs down the road, as well as give you an idea on the type of mindset you want to have going into it, right? What are you looking for? What tools are you reaching for first? Stuff like that, those critical skills. The best way to get good at CTFs is doing CTFs. So the best time to start is now. And with that, Jess, you're going first. You volunteered. You want to take it away?
Yep, sure. So, hello everyone. I'm from Sheridan College as well, and I'm gonna share my screen here, and we'll get started on the first category. So just join that. Yeah. So, since we're gonna give you guys time to actually do the challenges yourself, I'm just gonna tell you right now that for Pico CTF, it has their own general skills category. That's mainly like let's say like you know kind of prerequisite skills, using Linux, very basic commands. So it should be pretty easy. And for any of you who haven't done a CTF but are familiar with Linux, it should be, quite easy for you to do as well. It's just to give you a sense of what you can expect from a CTF as, the challenges get more and more difficult. So for those of you who want to attempt the challenges, I'm going to put them here in the chat. Yeah, I'll get started. So first challenge under general skills, very, very simple one, is called runme.py. So let me just go find it over here. Yep. So all you have to do is run the runme.py script to get the flag, download the script with your browser, or use wget in WebShell. But I'm just doing it here in my Linux terminal. You can also, when you're doing a CTF, look at the hints because they kind of give you a good indication about what to do when solving the problem. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I'm going to use the command that they suggested. And then I'm going to run the scripts. Okay. And that gives you the first flag. Hooray, you solved the challenge correctly again. So that's just a very, very simple one, kind of test your knowledge on how to use the terminal. And then the next one I had was the first find challenge. So we'll go down to that one over here. So first find. So unzip this archive and find the file named ubersecret.txt. So I want to download the zip file. And I'll be using wget again just to download the file. Okay. And I want to unzip it, just using unzip. So at this point, I am aware that I have a new folder called files, and I have all the contents of files.zip. But luckily, it already gives me the file name, so all I have to do is find the file name. So I'm just going to navigate to the files directory, and then use find. Find the name of a file, ubersecret.txt. And then it gives me the file name, as well as the path. So I'm just going to run that here, copy the location, and then I'm going to use cat to read it. Okay, and that gives me the second flag. Submit. And then the last one we have is strings it. So it's starting to get more and more difficult. So this one over here. Can you find the flag and file without running it? So number one, strings. So this is just referring to the Linux command strings, which basically pulls text from a binary or a data file. So I'm going to download this file again using wget. Yep. And what happens if I try to read strings? Okay, it gives me a whole bunch of nonsense that you can't really read. So because of the hint, I want to try to pull, the legible text out from that file using strings. So using strings, the file name, and an output. Okay, now I have the file in the folder that I created, and now I want to read it. Okay, so you can see, compared to before, how much has changed. So like now it's actually somewhat legible, but now I just need to find from this whole text file the flag. But we already know the format of the flag, which is Pico CTF. So we can use grep to do that. Okay. And that'll give us the flag over here. Submit, and there you go. So basically what we went over was basic Linux commands, starting off with wget, because you'll be downloading a lot of files once you start your first CTF. Navigating, your directories using find, grep, cat. So very basic stuff. And you typically don't find, this category general skills in other CTFs, but if you're wanting to learn, this would probably be a good place to start, and you can, expect to use these same commands in other categories, let's say.
Yep, I am second. Can you guys hear me okay? Super. If I share my screen, can you hear me okay? Wait,
Let's see.
can you still hear me?
You still sound okay to me.
Cool. And then if I go over to my VM, can you still hear me? And can you see the VM?
Loud and clear, and clear and clear.
Super. All right, guys. So, yes, I'm Rowan. I'm a Fleming College alumni from the CSI program. Last year, I was the CSI Club president, so I'm really excited to be back and doing a demo for you guys today. I've also participated in the last 2 ISSessions CTF. The first one was my first time doing a CTF, and it was super awesome. I just bombed it, and yeah, I've been big into CTFs ever since, and I like to think I'm a bit better now, but you know, there's always those humbling moments. So anyways, today we're going to be looking at the cookies challenge. This is a web challenge. So here it is for you guys. I will drop the link into the chat in a second. And Jack, let them know when the timer is started. There's the link.
Take the stage again and provide a walkthrough.
Absolutely. I'm just going to share my screen. And away we go. Alrighty. So the challenge begins with this web page here, and it got the text welcome to my cookie search page. See how much I like different kinds of cookies. And it gives you the prompt of snickerdoodle. So let's follow the prompt and type in snickerdoodle into the search. And sure enough, it gives this little page that says, I love snickerdoodle cookies. Now, I'm not going to spend all of this time searching cookies. That's going to take too long, and, you know, we got a flag to find. So let's see what happens when we make that search on the web page. So I clicked on inspect, and it brings up the web page inspector. Here we can see all the different workings behind the scenes of the web page. So let's see what happens on the network when we search snickerdoodle. So we search, there's a post request sending our data to the web server, and then there's a get request with check, or bringing us the file check. And so if we inspect this response from the server, we see that a cookie, they're setting a cookie here, and in our request, we're actually providing a cookie. So cookies, if you aren't aware, it's a little bit of data stored within your browser. They're stored in key value pairs. So here our cookie's name is name, and the value is 0. So we can view the cookies within the browser by going to the storage tab, and you see that it gives us the key value pair here. So it says name is our name and 0. That's what we saw just a second ago. If we go back to home and we look at our cookies again, that's peculiar. It changed to -1. So it makes me wonder, if I change this to 0 and I hit enter and I refresh my page, it brings me to the snickerdoodle page. And if I change this to 1 and I refresh my page, now we're at chocolate chips. And honestly, at this point, let's try 10. See how far this goes. Oh, I love biscotti cookies. Okay, so there might be, hundreds and hundreds of cookies in this database. It's going to take me too long to go through all those values. So let's do a quick bit of automation. So here we'll jump. Oh, hang on. I'm going to grab this quickly. Here we'll jump back to my VM, and we're going to generate all the possible numbers that these cookies could be indexed by. So we're going to use Python. So Python 3 -c to run a bit of Python on the command line. And then we're going to say for numbers in range 0. And we'll say, let's try, 100 different values. And then we'll say print the numbers. Oopsie. Print the numbers. Let's see what that gives us. All right, so it prints to 99. That's probably good enough for our purposes. And let's redirect that to a file called nums.txt. Perfect. So if we clear this, we're going to use a fuzzer to try all of our different payloads, and the payloads being those numbers we just generated. So my favorite fuzzer is wfuzz. So we do wfuzz, -c for colors. Oh yeah, absolutely. So fuzzers they're really for testing, let's say, just different values on a web application, or even really any application at that. I'm sure there's fuzzers for like binaries, really. But for our purposes, we're just going to use it to test our different payloads. So the fuzzer is going to send a bunch of requests to the web server, with each one using a new payload. So I'll explain about how that payload is going to be shaped in just a second. So wfuzz is the fuzzer we're going to use. -c is going to mean it's going to output in color. -w is going to be our words list, or our payloads list. So it's going to be nums.txt, what we just generated. And then because we're interested in fuzzing the cookie, we're going to do -b for cookie. And then the key value pair is going to be name with fuzz for the value. So fuzz is the area where the payloads are actually going to be injected. So this is where the numbers are going to appear. Next, we're going to give it our URL. So that's this guy here. And if we execute, you see that it gives us a bunch of requests and it tells us what the payload it used was. So it's this right-hand column says payload, starts at 0, tries various ones. Some of these come back with a OK 200 code, and some of them are saying not so much. Now, this doesn't really tell us much, and I think somebody's got their mic unmuted. But this doesn't really tell us much, right? Like if we're looking for the flag. So we can actually filter this using a command line parameter. So it'd be --ss, and then we can, so --ss pretty much means show the string. So we're going to start filtering to show only the responses that contain a certain string. We'll say the string is going to be Pico. And you see that only gives us one response now, which was 18. So this is probably our magic number. If we pop back over to this guy and we go back to our cookies, and let's say 18, and give it a refresh, boom, there's your flag. And you did it without even having to test all those values. And there could have been 200 values and we still would have found it. So I hope you guys enjoyed.
All right, thank you. Jake, you are third, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, feel free to take it away.
Sure. All right, I'm going to share my screen and I will send my challenges in the chat. So I'm doing the cryptography challenges. So I've chosen 3 because they're quite similar and quite simple for cryptography. If you've ever done any cryptography, there's many different ciphers and encryption methods that you can use. But I've chosen 3 that are kind of similar because I think they're quite cool. But yeah, so I've sent them in the chat. I think I did. Yeah, I sent them with the links. If you guys want to start them. While you're doing that, I guess I'll just introduce myself. So I am a graduate from the CSI Fleming CSI program. I kind of helped Christian and Adam start this Discord server up, so I've been doing that for a while, and then just kind of stuck around because I think it's really cool what both Fleming and Sheridan have done with the CSI club and the ISSessions club. So it's kind of cool that we still get to do things like this. So I thought I'd join tonight and demo some cryptography challenges.
Thank you for taking the time to volunteer. So I've started the clock, 5 minutes. Give it your best shot, guys.
I also recommend doing them in the order that I've sent them because I find that the first one gives you an intro to these kind of ciphers, and then the second one's a little bit harder, and the third one is a slightly different way of doing the cipher that I've chosen.
All right, the clock has hit 0. Jake, if you want to give a walkthrough.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, these ones are a little bit on the simpler end, just because you can already tell right here this is in the format of our flag, because we have the little squiggly brackets. And basically, it says cryptography can be easy. Do you know what ROT13 is? And it says this can be solved online if you don't want to do it by hand. So right away, if you just Google what ROT13 is, basically go to website, ROT13. If I paste this in, it decrypts it for you. Pretty simple. All you have to, it's a copy paste thing. But ROT13, basically what it is ROT stands for rotation. So what this does is it's taking each letter and rotating it with the 13th letter after that letter in the alphabet. So basically you can see, I'm not going to do the math, but pretty sure 13 letters after the letter P would be the letter C. I would be V, so on and so forth. So you can basically what it does is it shifts through the alphabet 13 times to basically get the cipher. So it's not really secure or anything, but it's kind of a way of obfuscation. So basically we take that flag, paste it in, and there we go. We've done it again. So that's the first one. The second one was called Caesar, which is going to give us a message, which I'm going to download it to my VM here. So we have a file called ciphertext, which I'm just going to read it using cat. And again, you can see that they've already given us the format in Pico CTF, so we don't actually have to decrypt that. We can just decrypt this and then paste it in later. So basically, the hint says what a Caesar cipher tutorial is. And Caesar cipher is very similar to ROT13. And I'm going to use a tool called CyberChef. And instead of Googling every single different cipher encryption and decryption, CyberChef has a lot of them built into it. So if we just take this and paste it, and like I said, it's very similar to ROT13. So like I said, ROT13 basically rotates the letters 13 times, whereas a Caesar cipher is a specific number chosen by the person who is encoding it. So basically what I did is I just took the ROT13 and I just started going down until the output down here gave me something that was legible. And once you get to the number 4, you can see we have crossing, the Rubicon, and then a bunch of random letters and numbers. So like I said, ROT13, Caesar cipher, super similar, but obviously ROT13 is 13 times, and Caesar cipher is however many you want it to be. In this case, it was 4. So if we take that and type Pico CTF with the brackets around our flag, we get the second one. The third one was called Visionaire. And this one, apparently I haven't submitted yet, but I have it here. And basically, if we, again, get the file from the website and read it, we get a different string that you can, again, see is within the squiggly lines, so you can tell that it's already in the Pico CTF format. And basically, the difference between a Caesar cipher and a Visionaire cipher is instead of just rotating it once, you kind of are making a box. Here, let me show a graphic actually. So like I said, Caesar cipher is you take your alphabet and you rotate it however many times you want. So in this case, I rotated it twice. So A becomes C, B becomes D, C becomes E, so on and so forth. So you can see the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, rotates to this random string. Whereas a Visionaire cipher uses a table like this. So instead of just rotating it once, you kind of take the string that you have and you kind of multiply it. Basically, you're multiplying letters, which doesn't really make sense when you think about it. But in the terms of cryptography, it kind of does. So if we take the key that they give us, which is Scilab, so that's what we're going to be multiplying our letters with, and we were to take, let's take the letter R. So if we start at the letter R up here, and then we would use the first letter of the key on this side. So we start at the top on the R, and the letter C would give us letter T, things like that. So you're kind of just lining up two sections with a key. So the difference between the Caesar cipher and the ROT13 to the Visionaire cipher is it has to have a key involved with it. So it's to some people slightly more secure, but still it's only a way of obfuscation. Like I said, the thing about CyberChef is it has a lot of these ciphers built into it. So if you just search for it, you can just find the decode, and it asks for a key. And we know the key is Scilab. So if I just copy that and paste it in the key, we get Pico CTF, and it says don't use the Visionaire cipher. Paste it in. There we go. Now I've got 100 extra points. So like I said, those 3 ciphers are, they're not really secure. They're, like I said, a way of obfuscation, a way to make it look more difficult than it really is. But it's good intro to cryptography and just to show you how many different ciphers there can be, because like I said, those 3 are very, very similar ciphers. And that's just 3. But there is tons and tons out there that you can use to encrypt and decrypt messages.
All right, thank you, Jake. Ardez, do you wanna show your challenge?
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Let me see if I can share my screen, hopefully. Is that coming through all right? All right, perfect. So the challenges I have picked out are going to actually be Glory of the Garden, which is it's just an image. The hints here says what is a hex editor, and Shark on Wire, which is a packet capture file. And it'll be, you'll need to use Wireshark. If you're running a Kali VM, you'll already have that installed. Not, shouldn't take long to install. And again, if you look at the hints, what are streams, that's the main thing there. And I can just post those into the chat. But yeah, like I said, you'll need Wireshark for Shark on Wire. You'll already have it in Kali if you're using it, or just install it. It'll be quick. And then for Glory of the Garden, in the hints it says what is a hex editor. You can either download one or you can just use an online program. It'll work the same.
All right, clock is 0. Ardez, you wanna go over the walkthrough?
I'm gonna start with the Glory of the Garden. And I realized I never actually gave an introduction for myself. My name is Braden. I'm in the 3rd year of the Fleming CSI program. And for Glory of the Garden, like I said before, the hint is about a hex editor. I don't think I actually have one on this Kali instance, so I'm just going to open up hexed.it, just an online one. And so obviously it's just a regular JPEG. It's got whatever that image is, image of a garden in it. We open up into a hex editor. The first thing you'd want to do is, because the format of the flags are Pico CTF followed by the curly brackets and the actual content, just be the easiest to search for Pico CTF. And because this is a beginner one, immediately it's there. In other challenges, it might be encoded into base or any other possible one. But in this case, we just have the regular ASCII there. We can submit that. And there we go. And then as for Shark on Wire, again, it requires Wireshark. You just open it up in there if you've got it in Kali. And you get all the network packets from this capture. You can see we have a lot of UDP packets mixed in here. And in the hints, it recommends to look at streams. So the first thing we're going to do, pick a random UDP packet and follow the UDP stream. Immediately, we get something that looks like a flag, Pico CTF, not a flag. We're going to ignore that. Well, you can try it, but considering that it's called not a flag, we can safely assume that's not going to be it. And because this is a smaller file, you can just scroll through manually. If you were going through a larger one, you might want to export all the streams separately and use a different tool. Maybe use regex or grep along with regex to find the flag. In this case, we can just scroll through, see, and there we go. And Wireshark, it's just a tool to go over network packets, anything transferred over a network. If you haven't used it before, it won't be the last time you'll use it if you're going to cybersecurity. But yeah, that's the 2 challenges there.
All right, thank you. All right, lastly, we got me. So I am sharing my screen. Also put the link to my challenge in chat here. So this category is binary exploitation. Basically, we're trying to find a bug in the program, vulnerability, and taking advantage of that. So we got RPS. It's a program that plays rock, paper, scissors, and apparently something good will happen if you win 5 times in a row. So my recommendation for approaching this, obviously use the command here in your Linux terminal to connect to the program. Try playing around with it for a little bit so you get a sense of what's going on. Then take a look at the source code and try to find that bug. I'll also say the hint for this one's pretty helpful in terms of orienting you to try to find that bug. So I'll start the timer again, and I'll let you guys take a whack at that, and I'll make sure everything is the same as it was in my VM, the way I left it. Clock has hit 0, and I'll keep sharing my screen, and let's take a look at this. So here's our challenge, RPS. The program, it plays rock, paper, scissors. Something good happens if you win 5 times in a row. So I want to copy this, and I'm going to go into my terminal. So I'm going to run this and connect here. I might have you share your screen and then I'll walk through on your screen.
Sure. I connected for me.
Alrighty. If you want to share your screen.
Yeah, just give me 1 sec.
Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's try playing the game, see what happens.
Rock.
Oh, we won. Let's try again. Maybe we'll get it right here. Well, so I mean, you can keep trying this. I guess in theory it's possible, but probably not the best strategy. So I think now would probably be a good time to take a look at the source code. So Pico, they provided the source code. You can download it from there. All right, so when you're looking at source code, this is C, you would usually want to take a look at the main function. That's just a good place to start. So it's all the way at the very bottom. And here, basically, it's printing the prompts, and let's see, you want to look for when you're giving it input. So you have your response, but down below, it's just kind of checking, if it equals 1 or if it equals 2. And you can actually see there's that if statement down there. If wins is greater or equal to 5, it says congrats, here's a flag, and it puts the flag. Obviously, the flag is redacted, so we don't get it that way. But if we do get that wins variable above 5, we should get our flag. Let's take a look at the hint, because it is a pretty useful hint for helping us find out where we should look. So it's asking us, how does the program check if you won? So let's try to find that part in the source code. So let's see, we got if the command equals 1, and then we got if play. Now if play is true, wins goes up. Otherwise, it's going to be set right back to 0. So let's take a look at that play function, and let's see what goes down in play.
Where do you want me to go?
Just scroll up a little bit. There it is. All right. So it says printf. Please make your selection, and then we get our input. It's saved to R, and then it's generating a random number for computer turn, somewhere from 0 to 2. So if you scroll all the way up to the top, you'll see 2 lists here. So you have 1, which is the computer's hand. Let's say the computer's random number is 1. So it's going to go to paper, because that's index 1. And if we scroll back down to play, It's then going to look if our input matches losses computer turn. And losses, if you scroll back up, there you go. So let's say the computer generated 1. So the computer's turn is paper, and then losses 1 would be scissors. So it's going to look if we played scissors. But if you look at that function again, it's maybe one you don't recognize. String string. Now, CTFs, they're open book. So it's not cheating to Google something you don't know. So Jake, can you please Google string string for us?
What this?
Yeah. Let's see what that command's doing. All right. Locate substring turns a pointer to the first occurrence of string 2 and string 1. So it's looking inside of string 1 and it's trying to figure out where string 2 is. Now, that's a bit weird, right? You would imagine when it's trying to figure out if you played scissors, it would just take a look if your input's scissors. But it's using this function instead, string string. It's looking for the first occurrence of scissors. So let's try this. What if we go back to the terminal and we cheat? If we play the game, and if we play rock, paper, and scissors all together, that string string command, let's say it's looking for scissors, it's going to skip right past rock and paper. It won't care about that. As long as it finds scissors somewhere in your code, it's going to return true. So let's try running this. Let's see if this works. And look at that. So we played rock, paper, and scissors. The computer played paper, and we won. So if we just copy that rock, paper, scissors and play it 5 more times, we should get our flag. All right, moment of truth, I think. And look at that. Pico CTF, some extreme luck. All right, there we go. So, moral of the story, never be afraid to Google something you don't know. It's your best friend. It is the 6th teammate for your teams. So that wraps up our presentation for the walkthroughs. Once again, ISSessions CTF coming up this January. Registration is already open. In-person tickets available tomorrow for Sheridan students. Available Monday for non-Sheridan students. We'll be posting an Eventbrite for you guys to click on. Hopefully you had some fun tonight. Hopefully you realize, CTFs, they aren't that scary. Ours is another beginner-friendly one. So don't be afraid to try it out. And keep preparing yourselves. Pico CTF is one of the great resources to use. That's why we wanted to highlight it. Other ones, what else is there? There's Over the Wire is good. Hack the Box is a pretty difficult one. What else is there? Portswigger, right? That's a good one. Try Hack Me. Keep finding these resources. Keep practicing. Because like I said at the beginning, the only way to get good at CTFs is by doing them. So don't be afraid to participate. But with that, I'm ready to call it a night.
All right, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for to the presenters for taking the time to show us different challenges. I guess if anyone has any questions, just feel free to post them in general. Like if you just didn't want to speak up, no worries at all.
I mean, I don't have a question per se, but I did want to point out to everyone here that Try Hack Me has started their Advent of Cyber event today, and that's going until December 24th. So if you wanted to get into some free rooms, like it's all free, the entire thing is free. You get a certificate at the end of it if you complete it. It's geared towards beginners. So if you wanted to do 24 free days of stuff, basically practice for any future CTFs, go ahead and just Google Try Hack Me Advent of Cyber.